الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله وحبيبه أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم الطاهرين المعصومين ولعنة على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى القاهرة يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a pleasure for me to be here, especially in this beautiful month of Ramadan, where we share with each other at the sufra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being his guests at his table. I have many times been invited to come up here, but I never really had the opportunity to do so, and I think this is a really good opportunity, a really great time to do this, although I left the sunshine behind in London. And the weather changed completely as soon as I crossed the border into here. But it's quite a great opportunity. The Sheikh wanted me to say something about my background. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can Google everybody's history these days. You don't need me to tell you about myself. But I was born a Catholic and embraced Islam in my university days around maybe 24 years old in about 1980 or so. So I'm 61 years old, going towards 62. So it's been a long time. You know, in Farsi, they call converts Taze Musalman. I don't know how Taze I am, being a Muslim for over 30-something years. But it's been a long ride. I mean, first, when I became Muslim, Shias were not well known in the West, especially in Canada. We all knew about Sunni Islam. And it is only because I became a Sunni, I embraced Islam, and yes? Salawat. I became a Sunni, and I was a Sunni for about a year until I got the news of the Islamic Revolution in Iran. And I was very fascinated by it because in my time we were very much activists fighting against, for example, racism, police brutality, and things of that nature. And this was when we heard of revolutions in that time. The only revolutions you can hear about were nationalist revolutions or socialist revolutions. You never heard of a religious revolution, not to mention an Islamic revolution. So I became very much interested in it, and through that I came to know about the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and their troubles. I only remained Sunni for about a year, and then I became a Shia, and I've been a Shia since then. Some people ask me, they say, well, you were Christian before, then you became Sunni, and now you became a Shia. What will you become next? I said, maybe I become Shaheed. I have 4 children who have been born into Islam, so they are not converts; they are born Muslims. But I still have many family members who are Christian and so on. We have 4 brothers, and 3 of us are Muslims. 3 of us embrace Islam. So Islam is spreading in our family. In 1993-94, I decided to go to Qom, not because I wanted to become a sheikh or anything like that, but because the information on Shia Islam was so little in English, and many times those books or translations were so inappropriate. Maybe they were bad translations, or maybe they were not translations that answered to our needs, to what we wanted to know. So I decided to go to Iran so I could learn Arabic and Farsi, so I could be able to read these books myself. And in the process, I become like this. My Farsi is not bad. My children's Farsi are excellent, and they really freak out Iranians, I tell you, when they hear these black kids talking Farsi, better than them, you know, so it's very interesting. My daughter, I have a daughter here, she's attending the Queen Mary Medical School, and she was also head of the ABSOC in Queen Mary University. And, you know, her Farsi is great. And I think because of that experience, she was able to help these students achieve a lot of things in the university. So that's a little bit about me. Anything else, I don't know, it might be on Google and so on. I mean, I used to be a DJ and all that kind of stuff too before then. I'll tell you all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But what I'd like to talk about a little bit is about the universality of fasting, the importance of the month of Ramadan, and basically how we can make this fast a worthy one, and also to try to segue or merge into the occasion of this night, meaning the night of the Zarbat of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and what he is and what it signifies. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. O you who believe, fasting is prescribed for you. Fasting is ordered for you just as it was ordered for those before you in order for you to be pious. When we read this verse, I mean, all of you probably have heard this verse countless of times. What it is talking about is that fasting was prescribed to those before you. That fasting is not something unique to Muslims. Fasting is something that is universal for all true religions. And the reason why fasting is universal for all true religions is for us to experience and to practice the state of zuhd, the state of abstinence, the state of being separate from those things that give us pleasure and those things that we are connected to. Fasting is not just a one-off deal. Fasting is not just something that occurs at a particular time. Fasting is a state of the soul. It is a state of the soul. It is, and many of us make this mistake. You know, you can see it. All right? You know, we've been fasting in the month of Ramadan. We don't want to have what I would call the fasting of troubles. For example, you miss your breakfast, you know what I mean, or your suhoor, and you have to go through the whole day without eating. You're afraid of that, okay? And you're afraid of breaking the fast, so you stay up all night making sure that you wait for suhoor, right? Especially in these environments where we live so high up, okay? And then the day of Eid comes, and that day you get up late, and the day after that you get up late, and the day after that you get up late, and fasting is finished for you. Am I right? You know, young guys, you're walking out there all day, all year, you're looking at the girls on the street, come Ramadan, you don't look at them. After Eid, you get back into your bad behavior. You have people who smoke cigarettes, for example. They're addicted to cigarettes. In the day they fast, they don't smoke cigarettes. They know cigarettes are bad for them. As soon as iftar time comes, they get up and they go outside and they take a smoke. Fasting is not a one-off deal. Fasting is not something that you do just only a particular time. Fasting is something you do for all your life. It doesn't mean, I don't mean that you have to do it without food and drink for all your life. As the Imams have said, and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said. Fasting has a body and a soul. The fasting of the body is to do without food and drink and sensual pleasure in the day. That's the fasting of the body. But you know, brothers and sisters, you can have a body without a soul. That's called a dead body. That's called a dead body. And they say the soul of the fast is fasting with the limbs, fasting with the eyes, fasting with the ears, fasting with the tongue, fasting with the feet. And your feet don't take you to a place that is forbidden. And your hands don't do that thing that is forbidden. And your tongue does not say that which displeases Allah. And your ears do not hear. You don't listen to gossip. You don't listen to swear words. You don't listen to stupid music on the radio or on the TV. And you don't look at things that are forbidden to you. This is the soul of the fast. And those things are things that are with us all the time. All the time. And this is why, for example, you know, there are some people who say that, okay, I can't fast because I am sick. I can't fast because I'm traveling. Yes, from the point of view of faith, it is absolutely true. But they think that they don't need to fast with the soul. So if you're a smoker, for example, I know one acquaintance who is a diabetic. He can't fast, but he's a smoker. Well, smoking doesn't indicate negatively in your diabetes. But no, I'm not fasting so I can smoke. Right? I just pay my, my headgear, you know what I mean, and I'm done. Okay? No. If you are exempt from fasting, you're exempt from fasting of the body. You're not exempt from fasting of the soul. And so in this month of Ramadan, you too can benefit from the month of Ramadan by making an effort to fast with the soul. Now the month of Ramadan is a very important month because in Islam we have, and in all religions too, we have the idea of sacredness, the idea of sacred time, sacred space, and sacred things. And all of these things multiply our spiritual activity. A sacred time are like the sacred months, like Rajab, like Sha'ban, like Ramadan. These are sacred times, like the 10 days of Muharram. These are sacred times. In these sacred times, our efforts are multiplied. You have, for example, many hadiths. When we say we are at the guests of Allah's table, it is very true. We are the guests of Allah's table, at Allah's table. This is the day, or this is the time that Allah has invited us to His banquet. One might ask, for example, what do we mean by banquet? We're not eating, we're not drinking. What do we mean by a banquet? What do we mean by a guest at Allah's table? Well, it is because this fasting is really the food for our soul. Food, physical food, strengthens our body. Controlling the nafs strengthens our soul. And fasting is a means of controlling your nafs. You know, there is what we call an inverse relationship between our wealth, our powers, the things we have at our disposal, and our spirituality. There's an inverse relationship. I mean by that, the more you have in this world, the less you might have in a spiritual sense. Unless you do something. Unless you sacrifice some of that thing. Unless you make a separation between you and that thing. Alright? You know, this is why you have the word zakah. Zakah means to purify. And zakah is purifying that which you have. You see, when you have something, it feeds your ego. It feeds your ego. You know, I know of many religious people, many educated religious people, who because of their education and religion, have a big ego. Right? So say somebody who did not go to Qom, for example, want to give them some advice, They think in themselves, who is he to give me advice? He didn't study with me. Who is he to tell me what to do? Or to tell me how to live? This is ego. This is ego. Because Allah talks to you through many things. When Allah talks to you, He talks to you through your mother, to your father, to your aunt, to your friend, from that guy who is selling you something in the store. He's giving you that answer to the dua that you're asking Allah for. Oh Allah, let me know how to do this. Let me know how to think about this. And that person speaks with the mouth of Allah. But when you are egotistical, when you're full of yourself, you think you don't need to listen to anybody else. And so you're on top of your mountaintop, and you're the most ignorant of all people, because you don't listen to anybody else. That's a person with the ego. When you have lots of wealth, for example, you identify with this wealth so much, and you think you're better than other people because of your wealth. You think that person who is not wealthy, is lazy, doesn't work as hard as you, and you're better than him, and all this type of things. All the things that we are attached to, our youth is something that is very seductive to us. We are attached to that. And when we become attached to these things, we move away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we mean by humility. This is why, for example, many hadith talk about the arrogant person is like the top of a mountain that is rock. And when the rain falls, nothing stays. And the humble person is like a valley. The rain falls down in that valley, and it is there you find trees growing and so forth. And fasting is something that makes you do that. Fasting makes you humble. It purifies you from that attachment to your dunya. You know, we say, for example, in Islam, and it is true, it is said that the shaitan is tied up in Ramadan. The shaitan can't influence you in Ramadan. So when you do something wrong in Ramadan, who is this? Who is making you do wrong? Not shaitan. He's tied up. It's you! You are a shaitan. A shaitan doesn't have to be a jinn. A shaitan could be a human being. Shaitan does not concern himself with the shayateen among human beings. He concerns himself about the good people among human beings. The shayateen are going along the program. He doesn't care about them. It's you. So when you blow your top, when you become angry with people, when you, for example, decide to, I'm going to smoke it this month because I can't handle it anymore and so on. Who is talking? That's you. Okay? The shaitan, Iblis is tied up. But Iblis is still Iblis. He cannot affect other people. Right? But he's still who he is. So if you find yourself betraying Ramadan, a light must go on. A light must go on. And this is where we must do tawbah. This is where we must do istighfar. And in Ramadan, it's the month of istighfar. It's the month of the forgiveness of Allah. Allah is very forgiving in the month of Ramadan. So Ramadan is a mirror for us to see ourselves. Because what we struggle with in Ramadan tells us about who we are. So, brothers and sisters, when we are in this month, look at this month as a reflection of ourselves. Ask ourselves, what is it that is worse about me? What is that thing that I'm doing, or those things that I'm doing or saying or thinking that makes me feel guilty, that I would love to change, because I know this is coming between me and Allah. And this is what you fight against in the holy month of Ramadan. Give salawat to the Holy Prophet Muhammad and his family. Sometimes we get into this thing without thinking. Sometimes we are too self-centered. Many times we react to things on an automatic basis. because we are too connected to that thing. I want to give you an example. I want to give you an example about myself. First time I ever did, majalis for Ramadan in London. Okay, first time. I sat in the minbar, and usually when I give a speech, I have a glass of water next to me. So I sat in the minbar, and I looked at it, go Ramadan, okay? And I looked, I didn't see my glass of water. And I'm talking about Ramadan. And I said to the people, could somebody bring a glass of water? A glass of water here for me. And many of the people started to think, they think, but maybe I'm traveling or something. They brought the water. They brought me a bottle of water. And I'm talking about Ramadan. This is how we are distant from ourselves, you see? Right? This is where we need to be more conscious, self-conscious about ourselves. And I'm talking about Ramadan, I pour the water, I say salawat, I drink, I continue talking, you know. And after the prayer, there was a sheikh in the audience, and iftar, the namaz time came, and he said to me, oh, so you're not fasting? I said, yes, I am. He said, well, you're drinking water. I said, oh my God, I forgot. Ghafla. We forget about ourselves. We forget about ourselves. So think about somebody who always presses your buttons. Right? Somebody who always presses your buttons. Like some of our wives. Okay? You press a button, you get angry. Right? Where does this anger come from? It's automatic. You have to be very, very, very self-conscious. And Ramadan is a time for us to reflect upon ourselves and be self-conscious about ourselves. When we fight against ourselves, when we are aware of ourselves, this is the beginning of justice. This is the beginning of justice. You know, justice means putting things in their proper place. The first thing you have to put in your proper place is your tendencies. You have to balance them all out. And this is what Imam Ali alayhi salam did. This is what Imam Ali alayhi salam said to the world. He said, "O dunya, I have divorced you 3 times. I have divorced you 3 times. And in these 3 times, you cannot come back to me." And this is why Imam Ali was able to be just. If you are not able to be just to yourself, you cannot be just to other people. If you are still greedy, if you are still grasping at the world, you cannot be just to other people. Because you'll always be making judgments in favor of yourself or your prejudices. So I adjure you, brothers and sisters, that this time, let us be conscious of the fact that we are the guests at Allah's table. Let us be conscious of the fact that we are in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us be conscious of who we are. And let us resolve at the end of this fasting month to be new people. To the extent that the Imam said that our New Year's Day is not the 1st of Muharram, but the 1st of Shawwal, the Eid, because you're supposed to be a new person coming out of this month of Ramadan, and we carry on this spirit. I've been asked to switch to Farsi. Now this is where things go kind of funny for me. Okay? Farsi man خیلی عالی نیست. خیلی خراب شده است. از اون وقتی که اومدم از ایران. اما من سعی میکنم که خلاصه به شما بگویم در رابطه با موضوع من. موضوع من این است که رمضان یک روح داره و اون روح همیشه ادامه میدهد. رمضان این روحی است چیه؟ این روحی است که مثلا روزه گرفتن با اوضاع ما، با بدن ما، با روح ما، با گوشت ما، با زبان ما، با پای ما، با دستهای ما و این در زندگی ما ادامه میدهد. بدن روزه فقط مثلا پرهیز کردن از خوردن آب و غذا و اینا، اما روح ما این است که پرهیز کردن از اعمال سوء، اعمال بد ما و پس این رو ادامه بدهد. موضوع این حالت باعث عدالت دارونی ماست و این عدالت دارونی می شود که ما انسان عادل می شود به خاطر اینکه وقتی که منیت ما ایگو ما قوی بشه ما نمیتونیم خوب قضاوت بکنیم نه برای خودمون نه برای دیگران. پس باید این کاری بکنیم تا حالی که تا آخر رمضان ما انسان جدید میشویم. سعی کنیم که با اوضاع و اصفای منفی ما مجاهدت کنیم برای آنها که ما نمونه اسلام کامل بشویم. امام علی علیه السلام همینطوری. امشب شب ضربت امام علی علیه السلام است و هم شب قدر است. شب قدر دو معنا داره. شب قدر عمومی است، باز هم برمیگرده به اوقات مقدس. اوقات مقدس وجود داره تو اسلام، برمیگرده اوقات مقدس برای همه ما. اما در هر یکی از ما یک شب قدر خاصی داریم. هر یکی از ما. شاید من در شوال مثلا به وجود میاد چون متوجه میشید. این شب قدر ما چیه؟ اون وقتی که روح الله، اون وقتی که ملائکه بر روح خودمون، بر نفس خودمون نزول میکنه و ما به حکمت میرسیم. همه ما این داریم اگر ما تو راه خدا هستیم. همه ما یک وقت میرسه که تو انگلیسی میگیم آها مومنت. این مومنت آها است. آها الان متوجه شدم من کیم، کجام. باید سعی کنیم به اون برسیم. Somebody asked the Holy Prophet asked a young man, how are you? He said it is like I can see the people in the fire and I can hear the cries. He said this man is one who has achieved. Jahannam, بهشت، برزخ، همه آنها مشاهدت داره. میتونیم ببینیمش اما باید مجاهدت کنیم. برای خودمون مثلا مبارزه کنیم و در مقابل جمعیت که ما رو میچشه به طرف عمل سو مجاهدت کنیم. یک روز، یک شب، یک آن ما متوجه میشیم حقیقت چیه. Islam is a religion of awareness. Islam is an empirical religion. It's an empirical religion. Okay? Islam is not just a religion of belief. Many of us believe in God as a concept, but we do not believe in God as a reality because we have not experienced God. We have to strive for that. I'll give you an example in my life. I used to do lots of tabligh in Canada. There were people who would come and say, look, you know what? I think what you're saying is interesting. It seems to make sense, but it's not enough for me. I want to see. I think it's a good idea. It's a good question. I want to see. You know what I tell them? I said, get up the next morning before dawn, and Fajr. Okay? And ask that hypothetical God, the God that you don't really know yet if he exists. Ask that hypothetical God. Okay? I would like you to show me yourself. I want you to show me that you are real. I said, Allah will do this for you. Because Allah is all merciful and all just. And brothers and sisters, all of the people I've told this to, they would call me, they would contact me the next day and said to me, it was the most beautiful morning I'd ever seen in my life. In my life. See? They were saying the most beautiful morning I saw in my life. They were talking about the light that they saw and things like that. Why? Because they believed. They were sincere. Okay? I tell you guys to do the same thing. They say namaz is the mi'raj of the mu'min. The mi'raj of the mu'min. Yani, this namaz that we are doing that we don't pay attention to is a ladder towards Allah. We can see the heavens. It's a vehicle. But we treat it as a car that we don't know where the switch is. We sit in the car and we think, oh yeah, I'm driving, but you're not going anywhere. Because your mind is not in the namaz. Excuse me. Your mind is not in the namaz. Okay? Keep it like this. Let us move forward. Let us take our religion seriously. And inshallah, Allah will reward us. And continue asking Allah for guidance, and Allah will give us guidance. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.